Picture this. The regulator that once sounded the alarm on crypto is now waving a green flag. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joan, and tonight we're talking about a major shift in how America regulates digital assets. Just months ago, the SEC was in full enforcement mode. Lawsuits, investigations, warnings. Now, the agency has dropped its high-profile case against Coinbase and unveiled a new crypto task force. Yes, you heard that right. A U-turn. Here's the question for you. What does this mean for crypto, for everyday investors, and for you? I'll give you some context, break it down, and we'll engage together along the way. Before we go deeper, quick poll. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 towards still very risky, 5 towards crypto is safe and open for business. What would you rate the current U.S. crypto regulatory climate? Grab a pen or use your phone. What's your number? I'll come back to your answers in a minute. In February 2025, the SEC formally announced that it will dismiss the ongoing enforcement action against Coinbase. In plain English, the regulator accused Coinbase of acting as an unregistered exchange, broker, clearing agency. That case is now being dropped. The Wall Street Journal. At the same time, the SEC points to a newly formed crypto task force as part of the reason for this shift. The idea being, rather than full tilt enforcement, let's build a clearer regulatory framework for the industry. For many, this marks a turning point, from aggressive litigation to regulated cooperation. Raise your hand, virtually or physically, if you've ever used a crypto exchange or considered buying crypto. Great. Now keep your hand up if the idea of regulation scares you. And put it down if regulation gives you more confidence. Interesting. Thanks. Why does this matter? 1. Precedent. The case against Coinbase was one of the biggest the SEC brought in the crypto space. Dropping it signals other firms may emerge from the shadows of legal uncertainty. 2. Policy shift. The SEC AS pivot means less focus just on whether tokens are securities, in the traditional sense, and more on how to build rules for the space. The Crypto Task Force is its new vehicle. 3. Market and investor effect. For American investors and everyday users, this could mean more clarity, potentially more services, perhaps fewer legal clouds. On the flip side, fewer enforcement teeth. That's part of the debate. Here is a quick question for you. Do you trust the crypto industry more with or more without strict regulation? Think about it. I'll ask you in a moment to share one word that describes your feeling. So how might you feel the effects of this? For users, you may see more crypto products, more mainstream platforms, perhaps easier access. For investors, possibly reduced regulatory risk, fewer surprise enforcement actions, but also the risk that less enforcement means more bad actors. For the industry, a chance to rebuild trust, but also a moment of vulnerability. If the rules are unclear still, we may see regulatory gaps exploited. The caution flag. The SEC explicitly said that the dismissal of the case does not reflect the Commission's position on any other case. And simply because enforcement is shifting doesn't mean risk is gone. Okay, type in the chat or say aloud one word that captures how you feel about crypto regulation right now. Go. Now scan those words. Do you see mostly hope, fear, confusion? Looking ahead, here are 3 key things to keep your eyes on. How the Crypto Task Force defines which. Crypto assets fall under traditional securities rules versus new frameworks. Onjas, whether Congress steps in with legislation that codifies crypto rules and what role the SEC will play. How enforcement evolves. Will we see fewer big lawsuits, more regulation by guidance, or a mix? In short, this U-turn might be just the start of a new chapter, not the end of the story. To wrap, the SEC's decision to drop the case against Coinbase and unveil a new task force is a bold signal. The U.S. is recalibrating its approach to crypto. For you and me, that means opportunity, but also the need for vigilance. Remember the poll you took at the start? For 1 to 5? Where did you land? If you rated it a 1 or 2, you're cautious. If you rated it 4 or 5, you're optimistic. Either way, keep your eyes open. The rules are changing and the landscape is shifting fast. Thank you for joining. If you've got questions about the task force, about how this might affect your crypto portfolio, or about what comes next, I'd love to hear them.